Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope you all are well. I have some good um, topics that I'm going to discuss today, and they're all going to be concerning the digitalization of our society, how those things impact us, in particular, Black and African American people. And I'm going to do this in a series of videos because there's so many different things that I want to talk to or speak to, but they tie into this infrastructure of this B system, this last final infrastructure that's being built to enslave the world before um, the Messiah comes back. And I want to talk about it, and I'm going to keep talking about it because I want you to understand how uncomfortable these places are going to be. And I'm going to talk to you in blackity black terms. One, because I understand government speak, and I know what the flowery words and all of the catchphrases that they use really mean. So when I talk to you, I'm talking to you from the way, um, I've learned this language over the years, and most people will read it and think, oh, that sounds really great. But there's always double meaning to a lot of the words that come with law and regulations of man. So I'm going to be talking a lot over the next week or so about data, because data is what these people are trying to collect. They've collected a bunch already, and they've collected so much that they know pretty much everything there is to know about us. And so now they're ready to basically put us in smart ghettos. That's what I'm going to call them, smart ghettos, so that they can keep an eye on us, so that they can deprive us of resources when they want to, so they can keep us from enjoying um, civilization, that, so that we can worship this system and be under their control, and not have free will, which is counter anything that the Most High wants for us and His people. So, just chosen. So let's get into this story that I found. The first story we're going to talk about today is from CBS Miami. It came out on February 27th, 2023. And it was a local news story. It talks about police to rely on data-driven stats to prevent crime. Now, this isn't anything new because they've been doing this for a long time. And, I could tell you a whole lot of stories about how the data is skewed, how, um, policing, community policing, because they tend to stick to certain communities. Other communities are under policed. Therefore, there is not a lot of data on crime. And I'll just give you an example. So the federal government will come out with a solicitation to create these pilot programs and select these, always the major cities, to test these community policing programs. So the community policing, it always happens pretty much in what they determine to be marginalized or poor minority communities. And they'll look for specific crimes or create these behavior modification plans based on previous data that they've collected. But if you keep going back to the same communities and saying, oh yeah, these people are bad, but there's nothing going on in the suburbs, the data is flawed, because you don't put as many police in the suburbs, because the suburbs is where white people live, and they don't police themselves like they police other people, because they think we're animals. So all this data that they've collected over, however long they've been collecting, since 60s, 70s, it's just completely skewed. But if you don't sit down and use your common sense, you will not think about, the fact that you can move to the suburbs. And like I'm telling you, I've lived in the suburbs. I've been the only Black person in a community, and I have never seen the police on my street. I have seen my neighbors outside fighting. My neighbors across the street, son was on drugs. He broke into the next door neighbor's house and pawned his stuff, and got caught. And it was this whole thing. The whole little community was talking about it, but they kept it hush hush. And I was thinking to myself when it happened, they told me because I lived on the street. But I was thinking about, if this happened in the Black community, the police would have been all over on us. We'd had to have a neighborhood watch sign put up and, more policing. So just how they even deal with the different communities is a trip. But you wouldn't know that if you have never left one community and moved into another community, or if you've always lived in a community that has been heavily policed and you moved into another community where people pretty much self-police and self-report. You'll find that most white people don't call the police on themselves. They don't seek police to monitor their communities. And they know, they drive drunk just like everybody else, but they don't put roadblocks in their communities like they stick them in ours, because white people are free to get drunk and drive because this is their country. And they want white people to keep their money and their driver's license and, take care of their families because they see their potential. But they don't do the same for us. They will put roadblocks in our communities. They will, fine us, set up speed traps, so on and so forth, because we are the life support of this system. Everything about Black people, Black American people, African American people, we keep this system going. So they need to constantly make us look like we are terrible in order for them to keep themselves employed and to keep this Ponzi scheme alive. So we're going to talk about that a lot this week, but we're going to get into this story about police and this data-driven stats mess. The only reason I'm talking about it is because I know firsthand how they collect data, how these pilots turn into massive rollouts of things that they implement all across the country and all over the world. And they use us to create these things. So Miami, data and stats have helped experts predict outcomes in baseball and other activities, and now it's becoming more heavily applied in policing. That was, these pop-ups are getting on my nerves so bad. That was a part of the discussion at the Miami Crime Fighters Conference. Crime back in 1994, when I came aboard, it was all over the place. Miami Police Chief Manny Morales said. But he notes advances in policing have been incredible, such at the real-time crime center, which can feed in live scene video and even monitor a crime in progress. So you remember I was telling y'all about these smart lights and all these smart poles and all this smart cities. Okay, this is where we are going. So they've been using this technology for a long time, especially in public housing and bad neighborhoods and in city centers where, they have a lot of people in downtown areas. I don't know if you know about how Miami is divided up. So, you don't necessarily know where they have these cameras and what they're monitoring, but I just want to talk to you about, you see, they have this real-time crime center. So they're selling it to you like, oh, it helps you, monitor crimes in progress. But all the while, when ain't no crimes in progress, these people just watching you and collecting data, and it's just stored someplace, and you don't know nothing. You just walking around minding your business, not looking up to see the cameras on the building or the cameras at the stoplights or the cameras on the poles, watching you as you go into a store, or even, they have surveillance in different forms, like trash cans. They have cameras on buses. Like there's just so much surveillance going around, and they don't really tell you where they have these cameras. You just kind of have to basically pull up the purchasing expenses of the county or city during doing a FOIA request, or monitor the equipment that the police purchase and see what's going on. And a lot of people just don't do that type of stuff. And I've talked about it before, but I've just found people are just lazy. They want somebody else to do all the hard work and just be like, hey, this is out there. But you can't do it for every city, every county, every state. You just gotta tell people and let them try to figure it out for themselves. So anywho, now you have to be a lot more specific. You have to be a lot more quality over quantity, Morales explained. The center is also able to collect quite a bit of data. You're going to hear this all week long, how these people are collecting data, such as license plate info. But what to do with all that data and make it useful? We're mindful of the impact the arrest has on the community, and we realize jail is not for everybody, Chief Morales added. Leaders, academics, and analysts from over 30 jurisdictions across the country came to highlight new strategies. Sean Malinowski with Policing Lab tells us data can be a crystal ball into the future. Now, here they are, talking about this predictive policing, and they don't call it that, but, predictive policing has already been discredited by a number of critics because how wrong it is, and how frequently it's wrong, and how it has already hemmed up a lot of Black people, Black women and Black men, even white politicians. So predictive policing using the AI is terrible, but they're going to continue to go forward with it anyway, because the ultimate goal is to put us in these smart cities and just have us under constant surveillance where you can't go any place, because they will know everything about you, where you go, where you've been, where you're going, so on and so forth. The goal is to develop crime trends. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. We see the use of data in all aspects of life right now, and the police department has a lot of information in terms of crime data and where crime is occurring. And there's an opportunity to leverage that data, Malinowski said. The goal is to develop crime trends. So they want to forecast when somebody might decide to steal a pack of bologna out of the Publix. Mm-hmm. Thus, helping with predictive policing on the ground, which can mean having officers in hotspots ready to prevent crime. So let me tell y'all what's getting ready to happen. So they're getting ready to tell you, oh, crime happens here, because we know we've had these cameras up here that people didn't know about for a year, 2, 3 years, collecting this data. So every time you dig in your butt, pick your nose, or, squeeze your girlfriend's hand, they know it. But they also know, if you decide to do something dishonest, that you weren't even aware of it. So they could tell you're doing a crime, even if they didn't do anything to you. So it's like this secret surveillance. But what they're going to use this data for is to build these police substations. You know how we used to have police substations back in the day? They took them all out of the communities, basically because they couldn't afford them. Well, now they're getting ready to be injected with a lot of cash again, because this is the newest thing again. And so they're going to build these police hubs, these police substations, but they're going to be specifically for smart cities. So they're going to be outside of smart cities. So when you try to get out, they're going to be right there. Where you going? What you doing? Get back in there with your little QR code. Get your little dirty self back in there. You ain't going over there to the good people's community and get their groceries. That's not for you. You can't go to the beach. No. It's not within your 15-minute area. But you want to go someplace? Oh, no, you can't, because you've been on the poo-poo list. We saw you, you groped a woman's butt the other day, or, whatever. You committed sexual assault. They're going to be on us like white on rice. So you need to understand what is coming if you live in a city. And I don't care, even if you live in a rural area and you live in a city or close to a city center, these things are coming. They've already laid the infrastructure, and if they haven't, they are laying it. So you're just going to see a whole lot of things happening. You're going to see a whole lot of trucks, whole lot of development, whole lot of digging, whole lot of new poles, whole lot of cameras. And the next thing you know, you could be seeing articles like this in your local newspaper. We are collecting data, so we keep the videos for 30 days and then we'll dispose of it. So if we don't have the need to keep the information. So did you hear this caveat? So if we don't need it, so if we don't have the need to keep the information, they get to determine whether or not they need to keep the information. And so, he casually says that we're going to be collecting the evidence and we'll keep it for 30 days. Well, they already have that type of technology with the body cameras. And there was this whole discussion when those body camera grants were going out about, how long will this data stay on file? Who will look at it? Where will it be stored? How long will we store it? So it started with the Obama administration and this, not necessarily predictive policing, but this camera and this data collection and this storage. And, everybody was all excited because, hey, we get to see the police whipping people's ass and maybe it'll change something. But as you can see, it didn't change anything. It's just now you get to see it and everybody in the world gets to see it. But policing was never really overhauled. In fact, they got more money to get more body cameras so they could show you later on how, the police killed and stomped people and did all types of inappropriate stuff, and nothing happens to them. And nothing is fixed in the system. So that was the caveat. That was I don't know, I'm trying to figure out the right word to use. That was the prelude. That was the prelude to where we're going. And again, they always sell you the good thing. Oh, it's gonna be good. You're gonna be able to see the police in real time. They didn't tell y'all the police were gonna be able to cut those cameras off when they get ready, and they accidentally, forget to turn them back on. All kinds of stuff. So, like, this whole thing, it's just a racket. You just gotta trust me. Well, don't trust me. I hate to say that. Don't trust me. Just study, look it up and study. It is out there. Law enforcement leaders say access is restricted to only individuals with a background clearance for analysis purposes. So you can't even get this information if you wanted to as a civilian, and you pay for it with your tax dollars. When people think about cities, there are such variations in cities that it could be one block or a couple of blocks, and there could be a congregation of people in certain kinds of situations or businesses that a certain area in a city. This doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I have no idea. Alex Picaro, Bureau of Justice Statistics Director, and this is from I think the federal government, the Bureau of Justice Statistics. This new approach is made possible through a partnership for policing innovation reform. It's also sponsored by billionaire Ken Griffin, who runs Citadel, a hedge fund company that recently moved its headquarters to Miami from Chicago. However, Chicago is where the policing lab started. It's resulted in a noticeable reduction in crime. Get out of here. Didn't y'all just run Lori Lightfoot off because crime was so high? Do you see how they twist stuff? But I want you to pay attention to how this billionaire is invested in funding predictive policing, because this is where the future is going. They're going to make money off of incarcerating you, accusing you of crimes, falsely accusing you of crimes, and selling your data, just selling stuff to different companies. So, I talked to you about the Coin Bureau video the other day with the digitalization, and how WEF had this whole plan in the circle with the lines. And so all of this plays into this. It's not having more data, it's having more accurate and laser focused data to help us keep our community safe, Chief Morales said. 6 analysts from Policing Lab currently work with the Miami Police Department, and 6 more are expected to join the county. A clearer picture should be available of what has changed after the program has been implemented for a year. So, I just want to share this story with you because this is going to spread all across the country. You're going to see these policing labs, these crime centers. They're going to name them something fancy. They're already doing it. They got a big one. I think they're building in Atlanta, and the people were like raising hell about it. I think they're still protesting because they don't want it. People understand what these things actually mean, especially Black people who are over-policed in this country as it is. So if you see legislation or policies being put in place or money to fund these things, y'all better get in the streets and be like, until the Most High comes to get us, y'all better get in the streets and be like, no, we can't. We don't want this. Because, again, these are just open air jails, smart ghettos. They can call them whatever they want, but when you have to surveil people like this, you don't have the liberty to walk down the street without being watched by some people. You don't even know who's watching you. You didn't ask for that. Like, they just put it there. And granted, there's a lot of crime in Miami-Dade County, but the reasons is different because, you know, it's a good place for immigrants and criminals to hide. It's a very diverse city, kind of like New York. And there's very little effort to try to clean up the city because people like the cheap labor. They can pay people under the table, they can hire people and get their work done. So like the issue is layered, and then the cost of living is really high because it's a coastal city. So you know, the reason that they talk about crime, you know, they don't talk about that, you know, countries send their worst people here because they don't want them, and to help destabilize communities and make the country unsafe because it's just a method of terrorism. But we can't, as Black American people, African Americans, like, we can't allow these things to be placed in our community. So it's up to you to talk to the people in your community, let them know what's coming. When you see, you know, it being proposed for your city or your county, you need to stand up firm and speak out, and you need to oppose it, because if you do not, it is just another piece of the infrastructure puzzle of the new beast system that is going to involve incarcerating everybody. Everybody gonna be enslaved. Everybody gonna be in jail, and they're gonna sell it to you like it's all nice and flowery. But how many times has you know, these policies been sold to us, or these promises, and nothing changes? Nothing changes about the beast. The beast don't change. So, you know, you can sit up and think, oh, this is just a wonderful idea. It is not going to change nothing. These people don't change. So just pay attention to what's going on in your community. That's all I got for you. Don't perish because of a lack of knowledge. If you like this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, talk to people in your circles about what's going on. Like my Rumble channel, like my Odyssey channel. Because if I get yeeted from this station or this channel or this platform, let's say this platform, I could be yeeted at any time, because freedom of speech is under attack. And if you like this type of content, you won't be able to find me here. So Rumble is my plan B. All the videos that are on YouTube are also on Rumble. So please make sure you go there, check out the videos, the format, and please subscribe to the channel. As things get worse and censorship increases, they will be deplatforming a lot of us. It's coming, because they don't want you to wake up. They don't want you to know the truth. And it is the devil's goal to take as many people to hell with him. And if you are not knowledgeable, it's highly likely that you will be going. So pray, repent, get in your word, hang with like-minded people, you know, work on having a relationship with the Most High. And please don't fear what I'm talking about, because I'm not telling you this for you to fear. I'm telling you this information because I want you to be knowledgeable and aware of what is being planned for you. There are traps being set for us. And as the chosen people, we should be tired of these traps. We should be tired of living like this. We should be tired of allowing these people to do whatever it is and just, you know, not oppose it. So it's time out for us being ignorant of the plans of Satan and evil. And my goal is just to help enlighten us so that we can make better choices in life. Get out of the city, folks. That's my tidbit for this video. All right, I'm out.